And we will get started here. 1 second. All right, well, welcome. I'm just going to give a quick overview of School District Lancaster's system of college and career support, for those of you who may not be aware. So elementary school is really about exposure. So if you're an elementary school parent, that's kind of the focus there. Middle school, the exploration happens a little bit further, a little bit deeper. And then high school, we really want you to engage through your coursework, through visiting college campuses, exploring different careers, really getting your hands on with that. We primarily do this through our Future Ready Lancaster curriculum, which is a monthly lessons that students do around college and career readiness. And we use Zello as our main way to do that, which is a career exploration software. Your students have access to that on their iPads at all times. So that is something that you can do at home. They can explore careers, find out about different post-secondary planning options. It's a really great tool that you can utilize. So one of the biggest questions we get is, how will I pay for this? Whether that be college, whether that be a short-term training program, apprenticeship programs. We know that through recent research that students' biggest worry in college process is debt. And despite this, 99% of them believe that college is worth it. So fortunately, there's a bunch of avenues to pay for college education and post-secondary education in general. We have some people here tonight who are going to talk a little bit about that. So for example, we've got federal aid, we've got Pennsylvania state aid, which Sonia McFarland is going to be talking about. We have college-based aid, some private scholarships, 529 savings plans, which the PA Department of Treasury will be talking about, and loans as well. Just as an example, these are some scholarships that are specific for School District of Lancaster students, which is really unique. One thing I'll note, the MLK Memorial Scholarship Fund, that is now up to over $200,000 a year. So there's a lot of opportunities for scholarships just for students at School District of Lancaster as well, which is really great. With that, though, I'm going to pass it off to today's presenters because they are really the experts. So we have Karen Carr from Pennsylvania Department of Treasury. We have Ian Stackel from Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, and Sonia McFarland from PHIA, the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. And they're all going to talk a little bit about what their programs have to offer. So even if you're the parent of an elementary school student, a middle school student, whatever it may be, they have programs to help you get prepared for when your child seeks some sort of training after high school. So with that, I am going to pass it over to the Pennsylvania Department of the Treasury. And Karen, you should be able to share your screen at this time.
Can you see my screen? Okay. All right, great. And that is absolutely wonderful information, Jeremy. And we have some really great presenters here. I wish I'd had all of this when I was planning for my children for their college education. I felt like I just was flying by the seat of my pants most of the time. But I'm also really grateful to work for the Pennsylvania State Treasury because we offer these really great savings plans, including the Pennsylvania 529. And I think people don't often realize what the Treasury does have to offer, the Pennsylvania Treasury. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So I'm the outreach specialist, one of the outreach specialists with the Bureau of Savings Programs. You can reach me at kcar@patreasury.gov. I like to give out my email address because I will get back to you. I know there are so many questions, and especially this evening, I'm going to kind of breeze through this because I want to leave a lot of room for the other speakers too, and some time for us to do questions at the end. I think it's pretty self-explanatory that we believe that education is powerful. That's why we're here. It's a powerful tool and it opens a lot of new possibilities, both for yourselves and for your children. And it's going to give your family the tools and the confidence that they need to succeed. It's really kind of a roadmap towards a secure future. You know, that children, the research shows, and Jeremy, I was glad that you, really showed how important it is that parents feel the need for their children to go on for post-secondary ed, that 99% of them, no matter what their finances may be, really believe in this. You know that if children do have a sum of money put away in their name, that they have a higher expectation of continuing their education beyond 12th grade. So it's another really good reason to save for their education. The problem is how expensive that education can be, right? If you're looking at this chart right now with me, you can see how that cost just keeps rising over time. And had you looked back 10 years before this, you'd have seen the same progression. It just keeps going up and up and up. It's like when you send them to school, if you're sending them to, a school that's going to cost you what, $17,000 this is per year, right? Annual. That's like buying a car 4 years in a row. How are you going to pay for that? You need to think about those things, right? How would you buy that? You might be able to finance one car, but how do you finance 4 cars over that? And what if you have 2 children, 3 children? Very expensive. We know that. So we have these plans that will help. Now at the Treasury, I'm going to talk, as I mentioned, about the 529. I'm going to talk about Keystone Scholars, and I'm going to talk about PAABLE very briefly on the PAABLE. But I wanted to start first with a program that we're very proud of called the Keystone Scholars. I know many of you, probably your children are beyond this age, but you may know other individuals who are having children right now or have had them 2019 and forwards. We've started this incentive called Keystone Scholars and the Bright Future Booster. It's really hard to think about saving when your children are born, right? But we created the Keystone Scholars Program for every baby born into a Pennsylvania resident starting in 2019 for the purpose is to help these families start saving their education and thinking about it as early as possible, because that savings really adds up over time. It can help these children get off to a better start. And the research really supports this. As you saw earlier, it supports these child savings, the children's sort of psyche to know that they're going to do better over time and that, they will continue on for education. I'm going to just run through this so quickly. I'm very sorry, but I appreciate your taking the time to learn about this today, because we need at the Treasury for you to get this word out. There's $100 starter deposit. It's private monies, not public monies, in every child's name for higher education born to a Pennsylvania resident. It's automatically there. Every newborn gets it at birth. It's really easy for the parents to go online and register them, even though the account is already there. They need to kind of like accept it and see that, that money's there and just watch it over time. You can, watch this money grow over 18 years because it will stay with the Treasury and be invested by us for 18 years. You can't add money directly to this account, but you could open, say, a 529 right alongside it and start to fund that 529 so that you've got more money growing. It's really that whole idea to get the money in there. It's this easy. You go to pa529.com/keystone. You can find out more about it right here. So if you have any information, you can have people go to that website. And if you know someone who's pregnant now or has just had a baby or is expecting a baby, you can pre-register or register 4 to 6 months after birth, after the child is born. We're so lucky now that the Department of Health is going to be putting information about the Keystone Scholars on that child's birth certificate when you get it. So that is really, really nice. Anyway, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this. We also have, for anybody who may have been on WIC between January 1st and June 30th, who have had a baby, enrolled in WIC at the time of birth, that they're getting an extra $50. This is the Bright Future Booster, extra $50 added to that $100. So over time, they're going to grow $150 over 18 years. And this also was private monies donated to this Bright Future Booster. So it's not public monies, it's private monies. Thank you for listening to me about that. Please get the word out if you know anybody. The Pennsylvania 529 College and Career Savings Program is what I'm going to spend the bulk of the time talking about, but I'm also going to do a quick overview of this. There's a lot more to learn about these programs. We have 2 programs with the state of Pennsylvania. Not every state has 2. We are lucky to have 2. We have the PA 529 and Guaranteed Savings Plan and the PA 529 Investment Plan. With these plans, if you have a Pennsylvania plan, you're going to have certain advantages, such as you're going to get a Pennsylvania state tax deduction on your contributions, on the contributions portion that you have up to $16,000 per taxpayer per child. So in other words, I this year only contributed about $1,000 to my accounts. Both of my children have already graduated, they've used their accounts, but I still contribute a little bit every paycheck because I know the value of contributing early and often. But I deduct that $1,000 then off of my state taxes per child, per taxpayer. So my husband can do another $1,000 for each child. So you could do it up to $16,000 if you put that much in the account. The other thing I really love about this, and the reason good reason these accounts were created in the first place, are these tax benefits. When it's tax-free and tax deferred in the accounts, then when you go to take it out to use it to pay for your educational expenses, whatever you've earned on these accounts, you would normally, under certain circumstances, have to pay back the federal government on your earnings. But when you use them for these qualified expenses, you keep that money in your pocket. You don't pay it back to the federal government. I love that. So I also love that these accounts, you may think that if you have a PA guaranteed savings plan that goes with the levels in the states, which I'll tell you about in a little bit, that is only for PA schools, but it is not. Often I get that question. You can use the money in your Pennsylvania State 529 plans, either one of them, to pay for out-of-state tuition, even out-of-country tuition in many cases, for career schools, for apprenticeships. Your money in your Pennsylvania 529 is not just for Pennsylvania schools. There are no contribution or income restrictions, except that the contribution amount is $511,758 per beneficiary. So that would be a limit that you would put in. And a really, really nice thing, and I'm glad FIA is here tonight, is that when you're going to apply for those all-important state grants through FIA, your contributions or your assets in your Pennsylvania 529 are not counted. If you have another 529 plan somewhere else, those assets would be counted. So it's a really great asset for having a Pennsylvania benefit for having a Pennsylvania 529. Also, we have the You Promise and Sage tuition rewards. I encourage people to look at those savings as well. The 529 guaranteed savings plan, the first one I'm going to talk about, is a lower risk plan. The savings in this account, if you open a guaranteed savings plan, they're going to keep pace with rising college tuition. That chart we looked at earlier. You're going to purchase, GSP credits and choose school levels to save. Your contributions, remember, can be used at any PA school, a public school, a private school, out-of-state school, and we have 5 average levels to help families see where they are in the process. We're more than 140% funded in this particular plan, so we can cover everybody's needs that is in this plan, everybody's obligations. The 529 Guaranteed Savings Plan lets you save for tomorrow's college expenses at today's plan rates. So whatever it costs right now is what you're buying, but it'll help you save for those college expenses down the road. You don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the stock market, for example, or the financial markets. Because if you save enough for a semester at one of the state universities, for example, today, say you're saving for, Bloomsburg or California University or Strasbourg or whatever, you'll have enough. So you have enough for a semester today. You'll have enough for a semester at that school in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now, no matter when or how much post-secondary tuition has gone up in the meantime. It might go up 40%, 50%, 70% by the time your child goes to school. Your contributions will keep pace with that. That's the way this works. Same with, private school education. You would choose a private 4-year average or an Ivy League average. Regardless of how the underlying investments perform, your account growth, when it's used for the qualified education college expenses, it's based on that post-secondary tuition increases, not the markets. Okay, so the fund, the underlying fund keeps, assumes that risk for you. They make sure that's available. It gives people the peace of mind. Okay, here are the 5 levels, the average levels that we use. You can see what those schools are in here. Okay, so you can take Thaddeus Stevens College of Technologies mentioned right there. So these are the levels that you can save at. But you're not locked in. You might say, I have a young child. I don't know where they're going to go to school. But you probably do know what you might be able to afford. You might be able to think that you could afford saving towards, Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. Or you might say that you could afford Penn State or, Cheney or Clarion. Or a private 4-year average, or just community college for 2 years. Whatever you think you can afford, you put that in as your level, and you start to see as you make your contributions how you're doing with saving towards those goals. And then if you want to change your level, you can change it at any time. Anytime. You can change it 5 times in a day to see how you're, how you would do if you were saving at a different level. You can save it, you do it 10 times in a day. We can help you with that. We're really here for that. Our customer service people are great with that. This is all I'm going to say on the guaranteed savings plan for now. We can talk about it if you have more questions at the end of the program, but I do want you to let this soak in a little bit, and we're going to go on and talk about the investment plan for a minute. The investment plan is a little bit more straightforward. We have investment options that are offered through Vanguard. They put our portfolios together. Both of the accounts, by the way, are free to open, and we have very low fees on both of the accounts, just so you're aware of that. We have a wonderful investment plan that's rated among the very top elite group of best-in-class plans. So you can rest assured that you're getting into a really good plan when you invest in our investment plan. We have a number of investments that you can select from. These are our target enrollment date investment options. These are brand new. We've really just put these into effect, and it's really helped with our Morningstar rating. What you'll see here, your assets are managed according to the projected enrollment date that you select. So what you'll see is if they're graduating, in 7 years, you would probably select something in here. And you'll see that your, if they're graduating in, 2022 years, you're going to have a lot more time to have your investments in, say, the stock market or more aggressive funds. But if they're coming up soon, you're going to see that they'll automatically invest your contributions accordingly, so that you're less risk of, the words aren't coming to me today. I've been talking all day, so forgive me. You're more principal protected, okay, when it gets closer to their projected enrollment date. So you can select a couple of these. Say you're going to pay for K through 12, private school or something right now, and you have a projected enrollment date that's coming up soon, but then their projected enrollment date for post-secondary ed is later. You can take a couple of those. That's fine. We also have the stock individual options. And we have 14 of those that you could select from. You can, on our website, look at the portfolio prices and performance, as well as the target enrollment date portfolios and performance. You can find all of that on our website. Really good information to kind of get into and see if you like to make these choices. A lot of people will call and ask me, well, which one should I choose? We don't give the financial advice, but we will give you the background information. It's on our website. The meat and potatoes is there. You can find it and make some select choices. You can see we have aggressive to moderate to conservative to choose from. Really, really nice options here. You can choose up to 5 of any of these that I've showed you, of the, say 2 of these and 3 of these, up to 5. You can't have any more than that, or 1 of these and 4 of those, or just 1 of each, whatever you like, but up to 5. And you can make reallocations twice in a calendar year, but any new monies can go into any of these buckets that I call them buckets, portfolios that you've selected at any time. We also have the Ready Save 529 app just for the investment plan. So there's an app that you can have, and you can view your account balances and transaction history and so forth right there on that app. One other thing I want to go over quickly. You can use these funds for not only for tuition, but for mandatory fees, because the fees are always there. They're always expected, and there are a lot more fees these days for room and board, for required books and supplies, computers and computer-related expenses. They're qualified expenses. Now you can also use them, as I mentioned, for the K through 12 tuition for apprenticeship programs and repayment and principal of principal and interest on qualified education loans. So I did that already. We used it for a loan that one of my sons had, very expensive loan, took the money out of the 529 and paid that down. It's a lifetime limit per beneficiary of $10,000. So it's a really nice thing to know. Also, it's really easy to open one of these accounts by going online, but we can send a paper application or you can download the form online. You can contribute in any way that you want to. The real beauty is that you manage these accounts yourself. You're the account owner. If you open the account, you can have somebody else as a co-owner, so to speak, or an authorized individual on the account, an authorized agent. And there are levels of authority on that. They could just view the account, or you can have them all the way up to power of attorney. So, you could have someone to manage that as well. And your people that you're paying for, I consider them your beneficiary. You have separate accounts for each of them, and it's really easy to control that. You can go online at any time to check the balance or how you're doing with your savings, get your tax statements. You can have family and friends contribute through UGift. Remember the difference between the 2 programs. If you already have one or you're looking to have one, one is with tuition inflation, not the markets. The other is with the financial markets. I happen to have both because I like them both, and I just like to sort of hedge my bets. There's really a lot of ease in making changes to these. As I said, I've already moved on. My children have used their accounts. I didn't start early enough with mine. I will tell you, I started later, but I was still so grateful that I started when I did. And I'm really glad to have the flexibility within these accounts and be able to say add beneficiaries when I need to. If a grandchild comes along, I can just pop them right in there and they've got some money already saved for them. I'll just transfer it for one of my other children's accounts that I've been saving for. I'm going to show you, the web links shortly, and I encourage you, if you have more questions that I can't answer tonight, to definitely go to the website and sign up for some of our more detailed webinars about this, or to call our customer service. One more thing I want to talk about, and that's PAABLE. If anyone knows someone who has a disability whose the onset began before age 26. That doesn't mean they have to be 26 now, but the onset of the disability began before age 26. We have PAABLE. It is just a blessing in many ways that it exists for people to be able to eligible individuals can have this ABLE account and keep their government expenses, their government benefits, such as SSI or SSDI, Medicaid, Medicare, right, and Medicaid, SNAP, TANF, all these kinds of things, and keep them safe in an account where they're not counted against those things. So they continue to maintain those benefits and be able to save over time. And it's a very crucial thing for a lot of people. So I encourage you to take a look at paable.gov as well. That's one of our Treasury programs. By saving as little as $25 per month for 18 years, you could have $10,000 by the time the child turns 18. So starting early and sticking to a plan can really help you achieve your goals. I'm going to move on. I want to give you these telephone numbers and links. And of course, Jeremy, you can have these slides if you like to be able to share with individuals. And this is me once again, and our numbers. Thank you so much. I'm going to yield back to the next speakers. I don't want to forget anybody. Okay. So let me stop my sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's great. It's always a great thing.
It's a lot of information.
It is, but definitely you can't start early enough.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, definitely throw them in the chat. And so even if you have a student who's about to be in college, I think, that not too late to take advantage of the, for your state taxes, to reduce your tax liability is a great option. So it's like, if you're gonna put some of it towards tuition, you might as well put it through this way and then save a bit of money out of it. So please throw some questions in the chat if you have them. I'm going to now pass it off to Ian from Thaddeus Stevens, who's going to be talking a bit about our district partnership with Thaddeus Stevens that's relevant for all ages, because we really start quite early with that. And it looks like we have a question. If we have any questions, just put them in the chat and then we will get those answered for you. So Ian, I will pass it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Rath. Anything, guys, thank you for all logging on today. And yeah, I would like to share some more information on the partnership that Thaddeus Stevens College and the School District of Lancaster have with one another. So I'll share my screen here. This says, is everyone able to see my screen? Should be up there. If anything, guys, so the School District of Lancaster and the Thaddeus Stevens College, we partner together all from elementary age all the way up through high school. So it's a great opportunity for students in the School District of Lancaster to be able to get themselves accustomed to sort of what the college lifestyle is going to be, and then also get to interact with the college. If anything, I want to focus more on the right side of the info paper I have here, but at the same time, I do want to go over a little bit on the left side, as it is pertinent to elementary age parents that are on this call here. So with our adopted kindergarten program, it's a great resource for our students in the School District of Lancaster to be able to get to interact and also get hands-on experience learning with our instructors and also some of our students here at Thaddeus Stevens College. With that partnership, the adopted kindergarten classes, the first class actually just got into 9th grade this year. So we're continuously trying to find ways to progress and make sure that we have those connections with School District of Lancaster students. Also, too, with free admission to sporting events, it's a great opportunity for any School District of Lancaster students to be able to get any access to collegiate athletics. Then going in more on the sides of free use of the Thaddeus Stevens College Library, there is the opportunity for students to be able to come to our library with adult supervision to check out books and be able to use our library facilities. And also, too, coming up, our K through 16 coordinator was actually just hired recently, so I know he'll be looking at some new initiatives for more elementary age students in the School District of Lancaster to partner with Thaddeus Stevens College. But hopefully this year we can have our summer camp. So that would be a great opportunity then for students in 5th and 6th grade in the School District of Lancaster to partner up with us. But going more on the side of everything when it comes to high school and more on the lines of the financial side of things that's going into this conversation we're having tonight is pretty much on looking more towards the high school age, 11th through 12th grades. So with Thaddeus Stevens College, we have two programs here with our early enrollment program, which allows students to come to our school as seniors in high school and be treated as college freshmen. And we also have our college in the high school program, which allows students to take courses at their local high school that will allow them to transfer over to college credits in the future. With the School District of Lancaster and Thaddeus Stevens College, we have made a partnership to make it very financially feasible for students in the School District of Lancaster to be able to participate in those programs. So through the college and the high school program, we have certified courses through the School District of Lancaster that students could take at McCaskey High School that are able to transfer over to Thaddeus Stevens College later. So they could be able to use those credits then towards their future college. And then also too, with our early enrollment program, that will allow students to be able to come as seniors to Thaddeus Stevens College. And what's great about that is reduced tuition costs. And if School District of Lancaster finds ways to help out with those tuition costs to be able to make sure it's affordable for students to be able to participate in that early enrollment program. We do require at least a 3.2 GPA for students looking at our early enrollment program once they become a senior. And students should be looking to apply for that program once they're in 11th grade. And also too, I'd like to go into the guaranteed admissions process with Thaddeus Stevens College upon graduation from the School District of Lancaster. As long as there's a 3.0 GPA and that all their application requirements and testing is done by January 1st of their senior year, they will automatically be accepted into Thaddeus Stevens College. And of course, I know some of you may know that Thaddeus Stevens College, yes, we are right down the road from McCaskey High School and School District of Lancaster facilities. And with that being said, it's a very affordable option. Our annual tuition right now is $8,400 a year, which is very minimal when you're looking at other technical colleges in the state of Pennsylvania, when they're ranging anywhere from $15,000 to $35,000 a year. So it's an awesome opportunity for students in the School District of Lancaster to be able to go after those opportunities as soon as they graduate. And also, I'd like to go a little bit into our Stevens Grant Scholarship, which is an opportunity for students to be able to make their education even more affordable here at Thaddeus Stevens College. And all you have to do in order to be eligible for the Stevens Grant is to fill out the FAFSA application, which is the free federal student aid application, to find out how much federal aid you qualify for after post-secondary education. And automatically, if you fill out that FAFSA application and you're eligible for the federal Pell Grant, then you're automatically put in with our financial aid office to receive some form of the Stevens Grant. Currently, around 50% of our students at the school are under some form of the Stevens Grant, and they're paying very reduced tuition costs. In the past, School District of Lancaster students have actually come to Thaddeus Stevens College for only $30, just paying their application fee through all the different grant and scholarship opportunities through the Stevens Grant. So that's just some options there, looking at our partnership with the School District of Lancaster from Thaddeus Stevens College. Thank you, Jeremy.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Ian. Appreciate it. Thaddeus Stevens is a great partner as always. And we're so thankful for everything that you guys do. I'm going to pass it off to our last presenter, which is Dr. McFarland, coming to us from FIA.
So good evening, everyone. Give me a minute here to get my presentation up. I just have a very brief presentation to share with you tonight. And my name is Sonia Van McFarlane. I work with FIA, Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency, and I am assigned to Berks, Chester, Lancaster, and Lebanon counties. Also, I'm attached to the post-secondary schools in those counties. So it's a good possibility that I will still have a relationship with you and your family as your child matriculates from high school into post-secondary education. So my purpose, I just want to talk a little bit about financial aid. I think we've gotten an idea of some of the free money that can be available to you. And we've talked a lot about the self-help, and that was a wonderful presentation by the PA 529 plan. In addition, of course, you could have other savings that you could consider self-help. And then, of course, there are loans. But collectively, these are what we consider sources of financial aid. However, access to aid is directly associated or related to the FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's used to determine your eligibility for federal aid, such as the Pell Grant, work study. Of course, student loans for the student as well as the parents can apply for those products and services. And it is also required to review your eligibility for the Pennsylvania State Grant Program. In addition, some schools, and Ian just made a good point, a reference to that, some schools will also ask that you complete the FAFSA to see if you qualify for some of the institutional funding. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the federal programs that you would be reviewed for eligibility from the federal government, U.S. Department of Education. there is a Pell Grant. As you can see, some students this year received $6,495. This is a grant. You do not have to pay this money back. So for families that are wondering, are you eligible? There is actually a tool that's available for you now. You can go out to studentaid.gov and complete the student aid estimator. It will give you a very good estimate of your eligibility for all, if not some, of the Pell Grant. In addition, the federal government sends a pocket of money directly over to colleges and universities, where the Pell Grant recipient oftentimes also gets an additional grant. The FSEOG grant is a grant that again follows most Pell recipients. Students may also be deemed eligible for federal work study. I think federal work study is a wonderful opportunity. So on the FAFSA application, there is a question. It simply is asking the student, are you interested in federal work study? And I always encourage students to say, yes, I am. Then you will be reviewed for eligibility for that program. Some caveats of eligibility, of course, to submit this free application for federal student aid. This must be a citizen or an eligible non-citizen, and they must attend school at least at a half-time level to be considered for a half-time aid. And again, you must complete the free application for federal student aid. As well, we have the Pennsylvania State Grant Program. This, of course, is administered by my office, FIA. The state grant is earmarked for students that are pursuing a 2 or a 4-year degree. And as you can see, some students got up to $5,000 of free money this year from the Pennsylvania State Grant Program. It's available even if you're going to school online. Halftime award would be available for a student that is pursuing school at a halftime level, taking 2 classes or 6 credits. However, let's pay attention here to the only states that kind of reciprocate funds with Pennsylvania. That's DC, Delaware, Massachusetts, Ohio, Vermont, and West Virginia. This simply means these are the only states in which we share state grant funding. They send some of their funding to us and we send some of ours to them. But also note that you do lose quite a bit of the state grant funding even when you go to any of these 6 states. Any other states, none of the Pennsylvania state grant funds would transfer. In addition to the state grant program, we offer a slew of other programs, all sources of free money. And earlier I did type in the chat bar, I gave you a link to our Pennsylvania Student Aid Guide. And this is where you can get a very thorough narrative on all of these sources of free money. We offer state work study. I think blind or deaf beneficiary grant, that's self-explanatory. But the National Guard also collaborates with FIA to offer a free tuition program for a student that is going to school here in Pennsylvania that is willing to give the National Guard 6 years after they graduate from school. Then we have an accompanying program with the National Guard. This allows a current National Guard member to share his educational benefits to a wife or to their children, as long as that Guard member is again willing to sign up for an additional 6 years. The next 2 that I have highlighted here, these grant opportunities serve students that are in or aging out of foster care. So if you know of anyone that would benefit, please have them to definitely go to FIA.org and look at these grant opportunities for foster care and independent living children. I do want to take a minute here to draw your attention to the PATH program. This is a potentially dollar-for-dollar scholarship matching opportunity. We do have a PATH partner, and I know that scholarship does get posted on the school district's website. And the way that works is we would match up to $2,500 from the PATH partner once the student had started classes in college. So we have one program that kind of stands off, I guess, stands alone in the pack, so to speak. Remember, I did say the state grant program is earmarked for students that are pursuing a 2 or a 4-year degree. However, with the PA-TIP program, a student can actually receive similar $5,000 level of funding to receive a certificate of training. There are several career clusters that are attached to the PA TIP program, and medical is a big one. We have energy. We have a lot of students that do the welding program, HVAC. So please do give us a review in the student aid guide, either or. You can also check us out on our website, FIA.org, and review the application requirements for these programs. The last program, however, there is no application. So you won't find that on our website, but the way that program works is this scholarship program, the Ready to Succeed Scholarship Program, is looking for high achieving students that may be teetering across the income guideline limits for the state grant program, because the Pell Grant and the state grant are actually need-based programs. However, for students that have a 3.25 GPA and 24 college credits, so we're kind of looking at that college freshman that's getting ready to go over into their sophomore year. However, not often, but sometimes I do meet some high school seniors that have accumulated these 24 college credits, but nonetheless, the student is actually nominated. So this interaction happens once they have started at the college campus, the Ready to Succeed Scholarship Program. There are some deadlines that we have to be cognizant of. So particularly if you are going to apply for the Pennsylvania State Grant Program, and that deadline, the first one, May 1st, is coming up pretty quickly in my view, because my calendar is booked. But the May 1st deadline is the date by which we must receive your state grant form if you are going into a 4-year program, a 2-year program, or if you're going into a college transferable program at a junior college. If you are going to a community college or a business, trade, or tech school, hospital, school, or nursing, you have until August the 1st to complete your Pennsylvania State Grant Program application. I want to share a couple of resources. For those of you that have done FAFSA applications before, if you've gone to the website, you've seen a new portal that the U.S. Department of Education has for you to access many services that they offer. So you will find at studentaid.gov, there is an informational resource center there for you to access to find information about how to pay for college. In particular, I like this college Navigator site, because this is where you can find the college scorecards. College scorecards let you compare colleges, their graduation rates, their retention rates, but also on this site, you will find net price calculators. So rather than go to different colleges' websites, you can actually go to the collegenavigator.gov and use their calculator and compare several schools without ever leaving that platform. So it's a one-stop shop, I guess, for cost comparisons around different colleges. So this allows you to do a lot of planning, pre-planning. There's no need to actually wait until you receive that financial aid offer that doesn't come until late spring. You can actually do some research now to explore your eligibility for federal aid, and to also look at what your financial aid award might be at some corresponding campuses. And this is what the Net Price Calculator Center looks like, that is provided to you by the U.S. Department of Education. Again, most schools have these calculators on their website, but I must admit some of them are not that easy to find. So I always like to make you aware that there is one site that you can go and complete the calculators for any school that you want to do some research on. So if you are planning, maybe you have a junior or senior now, and I often ask students, well, what are you going to school for? Because they have a general idea if they don't already know for sure where they're going, but more importantly, they always know how much money they can make. So when they give me that set of information, I'm going to school for this and I can make $60,000 a year, I then let them know, well, this should be your borrowing limit. So as you do your research on families, please make sure that you have a plan in place that will not cause you to borrow more than your child's first expected year from the salary that they will make once they start, their career training. If they do so, then they will have enough money to have a reasonable standard of living without being so overly burdened with college debt. And of course, we want you to think about ways in which you can actually save money now and reduce the need for financial aid. Number one, graduate on time. As we well know, the number one reason that causes a student to have to stay in school, maybe an extra semester or a year, is that they often change their majors. So there are several resources out there. I heard Jeremy talk about the Zello site. This is where we want you to explore your career options and dig deep so that you would know exactly what may be required of you to enter that career. You can actually look at some colleges' websites and see what courses you have to take to make sure that you can complete that training to get that degree. So research your right major. When we also talk about graduating on time, if you are trying to complete a 4-year degree in 4 years, students, you have to complete 15 credits per semester with satisfactory academic progress. And each campus has a policy on what satisfactory academic progress means on that campus. Of course, I love the 2+2 rule. And I like that Thaddeus Stevens has this relationship with the school district of Lancaster, but you will find most 4-year schools have a transfer agreement with the community college. So this is a way in which a family can save